yesterday was a very, very busy day in the office, and it just seemed like one thing was happening after another, and many things weren't going, quote unquote, right, meaning the way I wanted it to go. Things finally ironed themselves out in the end, but there was just this whole kerfluffle around getting some eye drops for Luang Pa for his pre-surgical treatments, and pharmacies not having the orders, and doctors insisting that they had notified them, the doctor's office phones being out for a couple of hours, being on hold for 40 minutes just around the meal time to get the payments done, and one thing after another of frustrating miscommunications, as well as just all sorts of other things, a building inspector coming that I didn't know about happening, which is sort of an impromptu one. And then just kind of riding the waves of that through the morning and trying to deal with the things as they come up. And then sort of towards the latter part of the morning, the universe deciding to take a shift in what was happening, and all of a sudden we got the order done by 11:30 or 11:40, whenever it was that we finished, and that was all finally taken care of. And then just before that, Bob Madlam came in, and the inspector that was coming was just coming to inspect the trellis. And then it occurred to me that, well, what else is there that we need to have inspected to get the final approval for this whole cloister project? And there wasn't really anything, so Bob and I discussed it, and we decided let's give it a try to see if he'll final the whole thing, which we weren't planning to do. And we were doing that because we knew that we had the quote-unquote nice inspector coming. So we decided to see if because there wasn't really anything else that needed approval, and so we walked around, and Luang Pa took him for a tour and showed him, all around, just even though that building had been previously approved, we took him through that again and around all the areas, and lo and behold, he gave final approval. So this whole cloister area project now doesn't need any more legal issues, which we were really relieved about, because there were some things that we didn't know about that we were concerned about, and they apparently aren't problems. So we're all set. So just in the span of a few hours, things going from complicated and a lot of multitasking and a lot of brain energy to one where there's, quote, some worldly success and resolution on some of the issues. So, and just watching how the mind kind of gets wrapped up with the energy of that, even though maybe not dipping into it with a whole lot of intense reaction, but just noticing the stress of impingement, sensory impingement when things aren't going well, and sensory relief when things do go well. That's the same whole pain-pleasure axis. And just, a reminder to keep separate from that whole process. It happens, and you still have the painful feeling, you still have the pleasurable feeling when things, go wrong or go right, but just trying to kind of ride those waves is the daily practice, really, in some ways. And then just noticing in meditation, and it's happening a lot for me these days, just with the intensified mental activity, that what's happening in the heart, the mind, when I go up to my kuti, make it up there later in the afternoon, and to just watch the swim of vipaka from a day of intense mental engagement. Just in case anybody else experiences this, I just want to reassure you that a crazy mind is sometimes a normal response to a crazy day, and that it just takes time. It's just the vipaka of being super stimulated, super engaged. The mind just takes time to settle down. You can't force that to happen. So a lot of the time in those situations is spent just sitting there and being willing to watch the swirl as it swirls as a result of the causes that were put in earlier, and to just really establish that open, peaceful acceptance of intense vipaka coming, the results of an engaged morning, engaged day, just keep playing themselves out until they settle down. The more you resist it, the more you try and push it away, try and force your mind to focus on say, the breathing or the body. For me anyway, it tends to just reinforce that whole intensity, and better to just relax, open, keep coming back to a full body experience, letting it wash through the body, take it one breath at a time, don't fight the words, let them come, let the memories come, let the thoughts come, and watch the impact in the heart, and then just constantly come back to relaxing, letting go, letting it all move on. And then sometimes it takes a full hour to watch it die down. But with persistence and patience, the mind can then release and open and settle, and then the qualities of cessation, relinquishment, can appear in those small ways. So I'll offer that for morning reflection.